Well, a little earlier, I spoke to Dibyesh Anand, a professor of international relations at the University of Westminster. I started by asking for his take on the ceasefire and its apparent violation.
It's a good relief that we have the ceasefire. That's important. Because, of course, what the risk was, the war would have taken place and the thing would have, a conflict would have escalated. The surprise comes from the fact that Vance had announced that he would not be intervening, you would not be intervening. But in one sense, the ceasefire, the way it had happened, has allowed both Pakistan and India to claim victory, but more crucially, also Trump to claim credit for it. And we note that neither Pakistan nor India are pushing back and claim. In fact, Pakistan is thanking Trump while India is maintaining some kind of silence on US role. And that's reason is because Pakistan has always wanted a third party mediation, including US mediation in conflict between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. While India's position was this was at best a bilateral matter, or in fact, even only a unilateral matter of India to settle. So, in fact, if there's a diplomatic change, it would be for India to explain to its own public why it has allowed a third party, in this case, US, to intervene. But for the public, the civilians on both Indian control side and the Pakistan control side, it would be a relief because this conflict is main victim would have been them.
And how is India going to explain to the public that it allowed the US to intervene? How is it going to handle that?
Yeah, in fact, we have in India a very leader who claims to be very strong and a hyper nationalist far right government. The way they might do, of course, is through the control of the media. If you look at the Indian media, they have behaved quite irresponsible, particularly the broadcast media. They had been, in fact, talking of conquering Pakistan, breaking up Pakistan, and none of that has actually happened. But they might focus on the fact that, according to them, the narrative they're building is Pakistan begged for a ceasefire. Sorry, Pakistan begged for ceasefire because it feared India. That's how they might sell it. But I'm sure behind the scene, there would be a lot of rethinking of how even despite the rhetoric of nationalism and strong leadership, what Modi, of course, has been doing, particularly because of his supposed close relation with Trump, is in fact shifting India's diplomacy and policy around Kashmir if he allows US actually to mediate. Because remember, Trump is not only talking ceasefire, but he's also talking of him offering to bring mediation on Kashmir conflict. And normally that would be unacceptable for India. So we'll see how it goes in the future, because what Modi has often focused on is not to make India stronger, but controlling an image domestically to portray himself as the strong-man leader. And of course, if you notice, the Indian opposition party, including Congress, have been to an extent politely but mocking Modi because they're comparing him now to Indira Gandhi, the Indian Prime Minister in the past, who was quite strong, who stood up to US and actually at the 1971 war defeated Pakistan and helped create the Bangladesh. So they're comparing him, Modi, who talks a lot, according to them, but doesn't act when it comes to war, uh, with Indira Gandhi, who actually defeated Pakistan and created Bangladesh.